Here we go with Chapter 1, Lesson 2, Words and Expressions. Today we're going to be taking some phrases and sentences and turning them into expressions, as well as looking at expressions and thinking about what the words would be. And eventually we will be evaluating expressions. Okay, so first off, numerical expressions. What are they? This is one of your vocabulary words, so make sure you learn it. And a numerical expression is an expression with numbers and operations. So our operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So numerical expressions, only numbers and operations, no variables and no equal signs. So examples, put some examples up for you. There are infinitely many examples. These are just a few. So if we show an example of addition, we could do 3 plus 2. Example of subtraction might be 10 minus 7. 8 times 6. And for division, we could do 20 divided by 4. So those are all examples of numerical expressions. They contain numbers and some kind of operation. Okay, now that we know what a numerical expression is, we want to work on translating verbal phrases into expressions. So our first one here, 1A, the cost of 10 yo-yos if each costs $3. So we have 10 yo-yos. They each cost $3. So if you want to think about this, think about what would I do in order to find out my total cost. If I have 10 yo-yos, they each cost $3, we are going to multiply. So our numerical expression would be 10 times 3, or 3 times 10. And for 1B, the number of students in each group, if 15 students, are divided into 5 equal groups. So we have 15 total students. We're told that we're dividing into 5 groups. So 15 total divided by 5 groups. Our expression would be 15 divided by 5. That one wasn't too bad. It was almost given to you right in the words there. Okay, for 1C, the number of students on 3 buses if each bus holds 22 students. So we have 3 buses. Each holds 22. This is very similar to 1A. I have 3 buses. If there's 22 on each bus, how many total students could we have? Again, it's multiplication, so 3 times 22. And last up, the amount of money Nina earned if she mowed the lawn for $15 and walked the dog for $4. So she made $15 mowing the lawn, and she made $4 walking the dog. Our key word here, sorry about that, Belle, is and. And is going to represent addition. So how much money does she have total? Well, she made 15 and she made 4. We're going to add those together to get her total. Okay, so that's working with verbal phrases and turning them into numerical expressions. Again, an expression, we're just going to add this up here. There is no equal sign. No equal sign. Equal sign will make it an equation. We will work with those later. Okay, so next up, now that we know how to take a verbal expression and change it into a numerical expression, we want to work on evaluating that expression. So evaluate means that we are going to find the solution. So if you want to make a little note here, evaluate means find the solution. So when we talk about evaluating the expression, we want to follow our order of operations. So step 1 is to simplify the expressions inside the grouping symbols. If you guys remember PEMDAS from previous years, this is our P for parentheses. Step 2, we want to multiply and or divide in order from left to right. So our exponents kind of falls in between these 2 steps. We haven't worked with exponents much yet, but you will be working with them this year. So for that step 2, that's our multiply and divide. And then finally step 3, add and or subtract in order from left to right. So that's your add, subtract. Remember, from left to right for step 2 and step 3. It does not matter if addition or subtraction comes first. You have to go left to right. Now, for step 1, just a little side note, our grouping symbols. When we talked about PEMDAS, we only talked about parentheses, but parentheses are not the only grouping symbols. It could be parentheses, it could be brackets, it could also be a fraction bar. The fraction bar is the one that a lot of us forget sometimes. So in this example, fraction bars, we would have 6 plus 4 divided by 2, which means you would do 6 plus 4 first, and then divide by 2. Don't divide one of those by 2 first. Okay, so we have some examples for you here. Evaluate each expression showing each step. Very important, guys, you must show each step. And circle your final answer. So 60 minus 15 divided by 2 plus 7. Remember, fraction bars mean division. When we have a fraction, that means we're going to divide. So if we go through our steps, step 1 was simplify the expressions inside the grouping symbols, and just like we looked at right over here, that fraction bar is a grouping symbol. So we wanted to take care of our 60 minus 15 and our 2 plus 7 first. So 60 minus 15 gives us 45, divided by 2 plus 7 gives us 9. So there's our first step. We now have 45 divided by 9. Go ahead and divide that, and we get 5. Circle our final answer. Now notice, since we're working with expressions, again, we do not write equal signs. Equal signs will make it an equation. Alright, our next one, 30 divided by 5 times 3. This takes us to our step 2. There are no grouping symbols this time, so we jump to step 2. Multiply and or divide from left to right. So starting on the left, moving to the right. We see 30 divided by 5 first. That gives us 6 times 3, because we want to show our work. And then 6 times 3 gives us 18. Circle our final answer. Moving right along. 4 times the quantity of 10 minus 7 plus 2 times 3. This one's throwing some more steps at you. So step 1, simplify the expression inside the grouping symbol. You see we have parentheses here. So inside that grouping symbol, 10 minus 7. So we have 4 times 3 plus 2 times 3. Now notice, we didn't use x's this time. Parentheses and this dot, if it's raised up, it's not a decimal point. It is a multiplication symbol. Alright, so we're done with step 1. Step 2, multiply and or divide in order from left to right. We see 4 times 3 first. That gives us 12. Plus, we can go ahead and do this multiplication as well. 2 times 3 gives us 6. And then last but not least, step 3, add or subtract. 12 plus 6, again, gives us 18. Circle our final answer. And moving on to our last problem. 5 times 11 minus 7 plus 5 divided by 4. We'll see multiple grouping symbols this time. When you see brackets and parentheses, you want to take care of your parentheses first. So innermost grouping symbols first. That gives us 5 times 11 minus 7 plus 5 gives us 12. Divided by 4. Close up that grouping symbol. And our 5 is still on the outside of our grouping, so inside the grouping, we want to decide, do we do 11 minus 12 first, or 12 divided by 4 first? If we go back up to our PEMDAS, or following our steps, we see division comes first. So we keep that 11 minus 12 divided by 4 gives us 3. And 5 times 11 minus 3 gives us 8. Go ahead and multiply those for a final answer of 40. Alright, so that's some examples of evaluating some expressions following our order of operations. Now we want to do a couple more of these, but where you're given the verbal instead of just given the expression. So our first one here. Sally had 10 eggs and 3 broke. Write the numerical expression that represents the number of eggs Sally has left. So she had 10 eggs, 3 of them broke. We want to find an expression. I'm going to underline that again. Numerical expression that represents the number of eggs Sally has left. Now notice it does not say to find the number of eggs that she has left. It just says to write the numerical expression. We want to make sure we're always double checking our directions and making sure we're actually answering the question. So if she had 10 and 3 broke, we know that she's losing eggs, so that's subtraction. So she started with 10, subtract 3 that broke, and that would represent the number that she has left, and then you stop there. You do not have to go any further. And number 2, evaluate the expression 6 times 5 plus 14 minus 8 divided by 3. Show all steps. And this is just some more practice of evaluating expressions with multiple grouping symbols. So if we bring down our 6, go inside this bracket, remember parentheses will come first. So 6 times 5 plus 14 minus 8 is 6 divided by 3. Just like before, division comes before addition. So 6 times 5 plus 2. Again, showing all of our steps. Stay inside those brackets. 5 plus 2 gives us 6 times 7, and 6 times 7 gives us our 42. And we want to circle that final answer. And notice again, we showed every single step. You need to show every step to receive full credit on problems like this. And moving right along. A cell phone company charges $20 per month and 15 cents for each call made or received. Write and evaluate an expression to find the cost for 40 calls. Then make a table showing the cost for 40, 50, 60, and 70 calls. So first, write an expression for 40 calls. Let's take a step back and think about what we know. We know that they are charged $20 per month, regardless of the number of calls that were made and received. And then 15 cents for each call made. Now we want to find an expression for 40 calls. So we know that they're charged $20. So we know we're going to start with $20. Then if it's 15 cents per call, that means we're going to be adding in the cost for the number of calls. Now 15 cents, that's going to be represented by our decimal 0.15, and we know we're making 40 calls. If it's 15 cents per call, per means multiply, or for each in this case means multiply. So 0.15 times 40, and there is our expression. Again, it did not ask us to solve yet, so we just want to write the expression. Now on the second part, it asks for us to make a table and find the cost for 40 calls, 50 calls, 60 calls, and 70 calls. Well, we already know our expression for 40 calls. 20 plus 0.15 times 40. Now as we go down to each of these blocks, the only thing that's going to change is our number of calls. So 20 plus 0.15 times 50, 20 plus 0.15 times 60, and 20 plus 0.15 times 70. And if we take a moment and find the cost, you can either do it by hand, or if you have a calculator, you are able to put this in your calculator. Our cost for 40 calls, if we evaluate, that would be $26. Make sure we label. Our cost for 50 calls is $27.50. 60 calls would be $29. And 70 calls would be $30.50. We check out this little star at the bottom. What relationship can you determine using the number of calls and cost? So we see that our number of calls went up by 10 each time, 40, 50, 60, 70. Now if we look at our costs from 26 to 27.50, 27.50 to 29, and 29 to 30.50, the pattern there would be that it adds $1.50 each time. So what relationship could we determine? It costs us $1.50 for every 10 calls. All right, and that is lesson 2. Let me know if you guys have any questions tomorrow.